today I made some new dies for my press. I'm gonna try out the little new setup that I got going on. So, for the later on viewers, if you're not familiar with what I do on the channel, I make stuff out of metal, mostly knives. I do the occasional like blacksmith project and stuff like that, but mostly knives. So I'm gonna get my camera set up here. Over here we got press going. I got a big piece of cut off of a leaf spring that I'm gonna test out on the new dies. So basically what I got here is some straight fullering dies. So they'll go on like that and it'll allow me to widen material. So mainly it's going to be for thick like Damascus builds and stuff like that I'm doing integrals and stuff where I can pull the heel down and keep the bolster and stuff straight. But that's that. But first I'm gonna set down for my tang and start drawing out material for the blade and all that stuff. And but yeah, so give me a second. I'm gonna check it real quick. Probably gonna do a heat, do a set down on the tang, and get everything ready to draw out some material and basically see if these things work. Because I don't have a lot of time in them, but it's kind of a proof of concept, one of those temporary, permanent kind of deals. If it works, it'll be forever. If it doesn't work, I'll improve the design until it breaks, and then I'll improve the design. All right. Steel is hot. Let's do a heat. When I say I have a big chunk of leaf spring, I have a pretty decent chunk. So that's all I'm going to do for the tang right now. I just wanted to get it kind of set down, and then now we'll start drawing out for our blade. We got a few people in here. What's up? What's up? I did a little intro or whatever. There was nobody in here. I do it for people that watch later on. So I got a big piece of leaf spring cut off. It's in the fire. We're going to test out some new dies and do a little bit of forging and make something. I'm thinking like a big chef, but I have way too much material for a chef knife. So it'll probably be like a cleaver or something like that. Something nice and chunky in preparations for future builds. So this is more of like a proof of concept test kind of deal. So I'm gonna swap these dies out, and then I go into some drawing dies and all that good stuff. we have quite a bit of steel here, so I'm just going to keep pushing it down and breaking it down to a usable size. Is that a good angle? Can you guys see what I'm doing? No, you can't. I suck at YouTube. Maybe that's a better angle. Will that work? Does that work? That'll work. All right, so again, I have a huge piece of leaf spring cutoff that I'm working on. I'm about to test out some new dies that I've got for the press for widening material. These, essentially same thing as these, but in the opposite direction. So this makes them longer. The dies I made, these little deals here, they'll make it wider. So if I'm making like a cleaver or like a chef knife or something that I have to pull down a tall heel for without having to do a lot of work with the hammer, it's basically like a pre-form, if you will. So set that up. We're going to take one more heat, make it a little bit longer, and then from there we'll pop on the new dies and flatten everything out and see if it actually works. This is probably not going to work. It's kind of janky, but it's more of a proof of concept, really. Okay. Seen it coming. So take our right here. Definitely not straight. Try one more heat. I got the little set screw in there tighter now. Probably going to need to do 2 set screws. But it definitely did something. I'm gonna work it down and I think it's gonna work. I just gotta do some tweaking to them, but they work. The next few heats will probably be on the anvil, so if you like forging, this should be just set up. I can actually see what I'm doing. That helps. So I'm gonna take a good heat, let it get nice and hot because it's thick, so it will move easier if it's hot. But I'm gonna kind of taper this down and get it, and I guess I'm just gonna make one giant like chef knife, and I have to trim it later on. I'll trim it, but then after I get it a little bit easier to work with, I'll work on the tang. But right now I want the tang nice and thick, because if I keep taking all these heats and the tang is at final thickness with scale and it getting hot and over and over, it will pretty much scale it to the point where it's brittle, I guess. So there we go. Work this tip down. I need to match that where I can hold it. Be nice. There we go. So, yeah. So basically the concept of the dies. It works, but it's not like, it's not perfect. I have another set of plates, and I might just end up making, like, I guess, permanent versions of this die instead of trying to build a tool that bolts to a tool, I guess, half-assing it. I'll just make a set of dies. So once that comes back up to heat, now that I can hold on to it a little bit better, I'm gonna drop the tip down. Once I get my preform and stuff ready, I'll smash it all out and get it a little bit more knifey looking. Do I fish? Yeah, I do. I don't fish as much as I used to, but I do enjoy fishing and stuff, yes. Yeah, so anyways, I should be up to heat. I'm gonna take a heat before. Anyways, what you guys up to on a Tuesday? Happy Veterans Day to all my boys. Hanging out. Hopefully you got the day off. Good talk. I'm gonna take the next heat to the press, and I'm gonna smash this tang down a little bit more. I want to hold it with these tongs. These are a little bit too small. If there's any blacksmiths, or you know a blacksmith that makes tongs, send them my way, because I don't like to buy just random stuff. I like to support other makers if I can, and I'm no good at making tongs. It's not my thing. Try to keep this where you can see it doesn't stay put, because when I set this anvil and stuff up and put it on this stump, I was in a wood floor, or not a wood floor, a dirt floor. Now I'm on concrete, and it doesn't like to stay, and I haven't got around to making a stand that I can mount to the floor. So but anyways, we're gonna take a heat. Now I'm gonna, I guess we can go back to the press and get some, way too much lake butter, but we're gonna get some. We can go over here to the press where you can see what I'm doing for the 3 of you that are watching. Okay. This is going to be a giant knife. So I like to make between an 8 and 10 inch chef, depending on, you know, the size they want or whatever, or, you know, but this one is already like 10 inches and it's twice the thickness it's going to be. So what I'm probably going to do is just pull the heel down to get where I want it, and I'll trim some of the excess off the end, because there's really no point in having, you know, a 15-inch chef knife unless it's what you're into. I like big knives. Like the chef knife that I use, that I made for myself, is right at 10 inches from the heel to the tip. So some people prefer it. I don't really like small knives. I feel like there's just not enough there to be multi-purpose. And with a nice chef knife, you have, you know, all the edge and different thicknesses of the blade to be able to use it for all kinds of different stuff. You can use a tip for, you know, minute stuff, and then you have the complete edge of the knife to do bigger stuff. And to me, it's just a more versatile knife, I guess, the bigger chefs. But that's just my preference. A lot of people don't like big knives. So we do one more heat on these dies, and from there I'll start working on the tang and kind of get it to its final. Not really final, just a little bit closer to where it's going to be. Well, I think I lied. I'm gonna, Yeah, I'm gonna do one more heat on the press. I'm gonna use these dies to draw the tang out a little bit more. Because right now with this, where the heel is, because of how absolutely massive this knife is, my heel of the knife, which is, I don't have a knife. Oh, I do. When I go into the press, the heel of my knife is making contact here because of how tall it is. So I'm gonna draw the tang out a little bit more on these dies. They're a lot more aggressive, and because of how small that piece of material is, under these big dies, the heat is pulled out of them really quickly because the press is cold. So I'll just draw it out a little bit where I can hold on to it a little bit better with my tongs, and we'll start finishing it by heating as far as the shape and stuff. And then when I go to actually put the bolster and stuff in it, I will probably do that with the press also, so I can get some nice square transitions to start with before I start filing. But it should be hot. Take one more heat. Anyways, at this point I usually would plug my website, but it's down for maintenance. I'm not a web designer. I'm not very good at it. I need to get on there one day and actually devote like 5 hours to finishing my website. I had one up, didn't like the way it looked, so I decided to go a different route, and now I'm stuck. So but yeah, you guys looking for Christmas gifts for knives and stuff, I have a Facebook page, Little River Forge, just on Facebook. I have some stuff available there. I'm doing a sale right now on all my like hunting knives and stuff like that, like Skinners or drop point hunters or smaller EDCs and stuff like that. They're on there. I got like 8 of them. Some have sheaths, some don't. Depends on what you're after. But yeah, I know I always have people comment later on in the videos and stuff after the live is over, and they ask me if I sell them, and I always forget to say yes, I do. So yeah. But anyways, on this heat, I'm going to use the anvil. Hopefully I can hold on to the blade, and I'm going to try to pull that bolster and stuff back up in line with the spine, because it's a little janky right now. So I'll give you some full bed of tones. These are all shit. Shit too. Working. But But anyways, what are y'all up to today? Comment section is not very great today. Usually, which I'm not gonna say that, because usually like it'll be a couple people asking like normal questions, and then you'll have like 5 or 6 people hop on here and just say some like off the wall, completely random, weird shit. That. Basically spend like a third of my time waiting on steel to get hot, like pacing around the shop. When I do live streams, I like to communicate and stuff like that, but I won't get comments until later during the day when everybody's off work and actually watch it and stuff. So those of you joining in after the fact, yeah, we're doing I'm not even gonna call it a knife. It's like a kitchen sword. So I cut off a big piece of steel, popped it in the fire to test out some dies. They kind of worked until I broke them immediately. So I know the concept works, so I have to make the improved version, the Mark II. But yeah, so we're essentially forging a chef knife, but it is huge. huge, like huge. You'll see. I'll show you. I'm gonna do a heat under here, flatten out some of the grooves made by these drawing dies here, and clean it up a little bit. Huge. Like Almost got me. Yeah. So that's part of the best reason about making your own tools. You get to break like 6 versions of it before you actually get to one that works, and then, you know, by the time you get to that point, you pretty much know like what you need to know to make the tool the correct way. You do your own trial and error, and you get a tool that you could probably buy, but what's the point of having a workshop full of tools if you can't make your own tools when you need a tool? You know what I'm saying? Spend $200 in material and time and consumables to make something that you could have bought for $50. But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna start. It's still extremely thick, but now I'm gonna get the tip up where it needs to be. Keep it, you know, getting it straighter and straighter to where it's going to be, and get it ready for grinder. I guess we can use a different hammer. This hammer has a flat face, so it'll help me take all of the divots from the round hammer. Round hammer is more aggressive than the flat hammer, so it moves material, and once we got the material where we want it to be, now we can use the flat hammer to kind of clean it up and planish it. I'm blind, so I've been making knives about 5.5 years, almost 6. I've been doing it full time for about 2 years now. So taking it seriously about 3 years, but you know, you have the learning phase where you were making prison shanks, you know, all that good deal. Terrible looking crap knives, but you're proud of them, and eventually you get to the point to where they're decent. Alright, so now, you see we got all these lines across it from the dies. That's what we're taking out. Go through and kind of planish everything out. Still super thick. Super thick. Quite as much material for the bolster transition that I want, but I think it's going to be okay because I'm looking at the thickness of the knife and stuff, and the bolster is, I think it's going to be plenty thick enough. I might be able to upset it, make it a little bit thicker, but I think with the size of this knife, I don't think it's really going to matter because I'll be able to put a decent size handle on it to where the proportions won't look weird, because the knife is about 4 inches longer than it actually needs to be. So we're winging it. It started out I was testing dies that I broke, and now I'm making a knife that I don't necessarily need. So I don't think these tongs are gonna hold crap. drawing dies. So what it is the proportions of the knife are throwing me off. I'm sitting here trying to planish and forge and thin this knife out, but it's still almost 1/4 of an inch thick, which is way thicker than the final will even remotely be. So we're gonna go back and draw on dies, and then from there we'll
do everything we just did again.
Good hot heat.
That's a big girl.
I don't do engraving. I've done like file work and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily do like the scroll work and like your full on engraving. I do a lot of Damascus, which is, you know, 2 different alloys of steel. One has a nickel content, both are carbon steel. After you heat treat them and etch them in acid, it reveals, you know, your different steels. The nickel resists the acid, the carbon steel doesn't, so you get that pattern breakup and stuff. Don't really do, like, I do, my Maker's Mark is forged in. I want to get into doing like the laser and electro etching and stuff like that, just because it'll make it neater, especially when I do like thinner when I do like thinner knives, like a fillet knife. To hot punch that Maker's Mark into it, it indents, you know, 1/16 of an inch, and you're talking, if your blade is an 1/8 inch, it potentially could be a weak point, and it distorts the steel, and it's really hard to straighten after that. So I do want to get into that. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. Yeah, especially with the laser, I've seen people doing some crazy stuff with the laser etching, putting all kinds of designs down it and stuff like that. Pretty much doing more of the artsy side of it, and I do like that stuff. I haven't really got into it yet. I want to, and eventually I will, but I lost my tongs. But anyways, I'm going to take a couple more heats on this thing. I'm probably going to pop off here in about 5 or 6 minutes, maybe 2 more heats. Probably do a video on this. I don't know if you guys are subscribed to the channel. It doesn't show me on here if you're subscribed or not. I haven't really been active on YouTube as much. Like I said, I've been fighting with this website issue. I have a lot of knives that I've been trying to sell. We did some shows and stuff, me and a friend of mine. So I've been kind of doing that stuff and have neglected the YouTube. When I do some builds and stuff, I'll do like shorts and stuff like that, but shorts are like a day or two of traffic, and then after that they kind of go to the abyss. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Hopefully here soon I'll get back with it, making videos. I used to try to post once a week and do like a build, and like once a month or every other month or whatever, we would do like a giveaway on the channel and stuff like that, but I haven't really been as active on here as I want to. So but yeah, so I'm gonna pull down some pebbles a little bit. This freakishly large knife. Pop that thing in there. We'll let it get hot. Turn the forge off. Let it cool off. All right. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. If you have any last minute questions, I'm good to go here. Answer questions. I'm just gonna let that heat up, and then I'm gonna shut the forge down. Like I said earlier, my website's down, so if you want to get knives from me, my Facebook page is the easiest way to get hold of me. It's Little River Forge on Facebook. Has the same icon emblem as the YouTube channel. My name is Jeff. I run Little River Forge, and I make knives. So, but yeah, the Facebook thing will look like that. It'll be that same as the YouTube. Hop on there. I'm taking a couple of customs right now for the holidays, and I have some stuff available, like I said. And if not, you just want to watch videos and hang out, I have a bunch of videos on the channel doing kitchen knives and Damascus, and I've done some folding knives like pocket knives and stuff like that. So that's what you're into. Appreciate it for checking it out. I'm gonna pop off here. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, shoot me a message, say what's up. I'll try to get on here more. I like the YouTube thing. I just don't have time for it really. But yeah, so before I get off, I have this one in the works, this little Damascus Hunter, and then I have all of these guys here that I'm working on. And like I said, I've got about 10 or 15 knives finished up there in a box at my friend's house. We were doing a show. So, but yeah, thank you guys. I'm out.